Firstly, what we're trying to build here is obviously a community of Web3 marketers. So, if you're watching this online, if you go to web3marketing.org, we've created a new website and a community that you can join. And the aim here is to create a platform and a space for Web3 marketers, and yes, some founders and other professionals, but primarily people who are marketing focused, to talk specifically about the work they're doing, the challenges they face, the new strategies and opportunities that they've sort of discovered, and to share that knowledge between Web3 marketers to help us to advance and grow as a community of professionals. So, if you're listening to this, definitely head along to web3marketing.org. And yeah, before we start, I just want to say a big thank you to our sponsor for tonight, which is Shoreditch Exchange. So we have David here, who runs Shoreditch Exchange, who's going to quickly say a few words, which is mainly about why this is such a good venue. So as the founder of Athena Labs, Web3 marketing agency, we actually have our office here. We do all of our events here. And encourage any other company in the Web3 space or agents in the Web3 space to consider doing the same. So I'll very quickly hand over to David.
So now we're waiting for a word from your sponsor. Housekeeping. Upstairs, water, coffee, beer taps. They go off at 8, so let's finish at 5:30 and get a beer in. Toilets are here, there is a third microphone in there, so keep the noise down if you go in. Just a quick note, that was a joke, so people look very concerned. There are cameras though. Just a very quick thing, Web3 was completely new to me when we took over this place last year. We've introduced some really interesting people in the space. We've hosted Solana a couple of times, Crypto Mondays, Super Tea, Bill Station. Now we've got Charlie and his crew doing all sorts of strange things in our building, not in the toilets from what I see on our cameras. And it's a very friendly, warm environment. We're an office space, but we try and be a lot more than that. So if you are looking for office, please let me know. You're going to get an email afterwards. Everyone's welcome to come back for a free day pass to work here and drink as much barista-made coffee as you can on the house. And if you're interested in taking further space, we've got some quite nice discounts. We really want to attract interesting, entrepreneurial, forward-thinking people to add a lot to our community, so we'll give you a ridiculous price to do that. I'll leave it there. I hope you have a great evening and learn lots from the panel. Good luck, guys. Thank you.
Very much. So let's get into introduction. So this first panel we're just calling it Web3 Marketing 2024. So we're just going to cover, I guess, I would say basics, more like fundamentals of Web3 marketing. Second panel we're going to move on to more of a focus on building and leading an agency and the specific value propositions and problems that agencies solve in the space. And the final panel, we're going to have some fantastic Web3 journalists from the blog and Decrypt, and some of our PR team from Athena, and even a guy called Liam, who's actually come from what we would call Web2 media. He's, I think, going to tell us off for using that phrase. But yeah, let's crack on to this first panel. So we've got Katie Nairn, who's the Web3 community lead from Serotonin, which is probably, I'd say, one of the OG big dog, quote-unquote, agencies in the world. We've got G. Clay Miller, newly elected, so what's the title?
County committee member.
County committee member out in America, but who's a partner at Penrose Partners, which is a fantastic consultancy focused, I think, perhaps more on the capital advisory side. I'm sure I'll tell you about in a second.
Tell you what,
I'm just going to let everyone introduce themselves, so it's a bit quicker.
Okay. Thank you, Charlie. So yeah, I'm Katie, currently Web3, so long title, member experience lead at Serotonin. So Serotonin, as Charlie said, is one of the leading Web3 marketing agencies. We also offer recruitment and legal services as well. We've spun out Mojito and Franklin. These are kind of some other companies. And separately to that, we've built the Serotonin platform, which is an internally incubated product. We want to be the single source of truth for all events within the Web3 ecosystem. And at its center is a community, a VIP community, I guess, of your top founders, builders, VCs in the space. So my job is to really facilitate that community connection. Before this, I did marketing at BoomPay.
Thanks, Katie. Hi, everyone. My name is G. Clay Miller. Charlie's right. I did recently run and win a seat on the Brooklyn County Committee, so I'm the first local elected position. But my day job is as a partner at a firm called Penrose, which I run with 2 other business partners and 2 of my best friends. We are less of an agency, more of a private investment and advisory firm. Me and my 2 business partners met almost 9-10 years ago. At the time, at Canada's largest ICO consultancy, where we were running marketing campaigns for token projects there. I think the most notable one we ran there was the Tron ICO. Tron with an R, not O. And these days we have transitioned much more to a business development, sales, really top of funnel lead generation kind of firm where we focus on fundraising, sales and capital development for our partners. And really after the 2021 winter, pivoted with the market more toward institutional, highly regulated, compliant products. So a couple big events over the last couple of years that I'll touch on and how it's kind of shaped our marketing strategies.
Thanks very much.
Hey everyone, my name is Miguel Osborne. I'm the CEO of Crest3, which is a, how do I describe it? It's effectively a SaaS tool to help marketers reply and respond and create content for their communities that resonates with them based on their tone of voice. And yeah, my background is I've been in market research and social analytics for the last 12 years. I was the head of data at Social Chain up in Manchester with Stephen Bartlett, and then joined him at Flight3 to be the chief data officer there. Helped with the Flight3 acquisition as well, or Zebra Live acquisition. And yeah, and now I've gone and started my own thing, and really excited to be here. And yeah, thank you for inviting me. It's really fun. Charlie, you're a great guy.
Cheers.
Cheers. Hey guys, I'm Tom. I head up strategy at Flight3, and I'm sure you'll hear a lot more about that later from Ariane. But in short, Flight3, UK, Europe's leading Web3 marketing agency, full stack. In terms of my background, I was previously lead marketer at blockchain.com, and in another life, I also come from the world of VC, so very much working with Web3 startups and all that sort of thing.
Brilliant.
Well, let's dive straight into the questions. So the first one we've got is what's working and not working in Web3 marketing in 2024? And what are your biggest predictions for opportunities in 2025? So who wants to go first?
There you go. Let's get G clear.
Cool. Yeah, I'll maybe tell you a little bit about my marketing journey in Web3 and kind of where I see ourselves right now. So, you know, as I mentioned, back circa 2015, 2016 at an ICO agency, this was before a lot of the large ad tech platforms had any type of restrictions. So you could run banner ads, you could run Facebook ads, straight to community groups where you could really almost say anything you wanted. You know, laws did not exist, in many regions still do not. And when that agency kind of crashed and burned in the 2018 winter, me and two other early employees there decided that we were going to double down on highly regulated, highly compliant jurisdictions. And so for the last couple of years, we were entering our 5th year at Penrose, really got our bread and butter with regulated infrastructure projects. So think like cybersecurity, digital identity, custody providers, things like that. Really doing kind of sales-driven startup consulting. But in the 2021 winter, you know, VC funding dried up, startups didn't have budget to run campaigns. We had to pivot our firm, to keep it alive, quite frankly, at the time, to large institutional players. So now we do business development, sales, and marketing for a lot of the big exchanges, Coinbase, Kraken, some of the stable coins like Circle, few of the large protocols that are exploring structured products, as well as digital asset managers. So one of our marquee clients is 3IQ Corp out of Canada. You can think of them as like a Grayscale or CoinShares type asset manager. And bringing it back to the kind of two events that I think in the last year are really reshaping not only Web3 marketing, but the broader Web3 ecosystem. One, the SEC approval of ETFs in the United States. And two, the fact that cryptocurrency is, for the first time, a topic of debate in the US presidential election, has opened up this industry to an entirely new customer segment. So no longer are we, at least our firm, focused on retail buyers, we're focused on institutional buyers. So financial advisors, pension funds, family offices, hedge funds, things like that, right? And so with new customer segments, with new audiences, the marketing has had to change. And for me, you know, despite from 2016, seeing the mass development of on-chain data, ad networks, community tooling, like all these great Web3 developments, for me this year has really been defined as a return to like bread and butter basics in terms of marketing. Talking like webinar funnels, a lot of investor roadshows, hand-to-hand combat sales initiatives, and then like educational drip campaigns through email, because this new customer segment, we're starting from scratch in terms of education, right? Like think about educating a policymaker, a hedge fund manager. You're really starting at what is digital assets 101, and I am one of those dirty digital asset, not Web3 people, so that's kind of the language and terminology we have to use. But if my prediction for 2024 and beyond, I think we're going to see a bifurcation between Web3 native tools and token marketing, and then a big return to basic bread and butter marketing strategies for more traditional types of clients.
That's a fantastic answer. I mean, I guess I'm going to rope Katie in, because I understand you've been working a lot more on the community side of things.
Yeah, so kind of expand a bit more what I'm doing is really building a community away from the noise of kind of Twitter, Telegram, Discord, etc. I think there's a real need for this more enhanced community where you can trust people's opinions, where you can meet people that genuinely align with your values and goals. And so that's been really important, and things like, I guess it's less bigger marketing, but things like curated dinner series, we called them Sero soirees, we've done one in Hong Kong, we're doing one in Bangkok, and they vary in size and if they're kind of smaller or bigger and how kind of exclusive they are, which has been great. But what I wanted to actually say about what I've seen really successful in maybe community marketing among projects is communities that are really on the pulse of things happening, like for example, it's so silly, but like that Mudang hippo, right? Like I've seen the ones that actually make me laugh and like catch my attention, and the companies that are really quickly picking up, creating funny memes, like reacting to their community, really being vocal. And sometimes it is just a bit of escapism and it's funny, but it's catching your attention and it's on the pulse. And I don't know if it sometimes takes literally someone to be on crypto Twitter 24/7 to be on that pulse, but it's so funny. I mean, I don't know if anyone watched like the Moondang token, someone created one. Someone made like $8 million on it. They did like $6 million. They did an $800 investment, and then it just went up because of the market. It's just crazy stuff, which I really like. So some of the ones that projects I've actually seen that are very clever and have utility, but also have that levity. Boys Club, they're really big in the US. They're a good media company. Barachain, they've done amazing with their marketing. They're coming in with the bear kind of costumes. No one knows what Smokey looks like, but you all can see it's really recognisable. You've got Chipped Social. It's actually born out of Winnie.eth, who used to work at Sero as a social media manager, and she's got these NFC chips on nails, and that's just gone viral, and it's really getting women into crypto, which I absolutely love. And we're doing like a collab, and so you can get your chip nails, and basically it acts as a business card on your nail. It's just so cool. It's really good, and like men are getting involved in it as well, and you're kind of like really opening up the conversation with people who might not necessarily be in the Web3 ecosystem, but it's something that people have fake nails, I guess, So yeah, some of those things that are a bit more stunt marketing, but are still really fun and have that levity, which I think it connects with the community.
Yeah, let's keep this going.
Yeah, I think I try to learn as much as I can from meme coin projects because they're just absolutely brilliant. Like Moondang, I can just watch videos of this little tiny hippo all day long. You should go and see. And you mentioned something too, which is like, you can doom scroll, or I guess like hippo scroll for hours and hours and hours and just wait for that kind of inspiration. And if you're a builder, or if you're a founder, or if you're a content creator, it's really hard to do that. It can be soul sucking, and I've seen that side as well, where you kind of like lose hope. So like, I think that when those things happen, if you can act on them and ride that wave, that's really great. But I also do genuinely think that the real the IRL activities are really that's where so much value is coming from and being given back to the community. I think if you're a degen and you live in your closet and you just want to, you know, kind of make a load of money, that's one choice you make. But if you kind of, again, if you double down on the community and you go and attend these events, people get a whole lot out of it. So I think the more that projects can host those real world events, the better. But I'm also seeing a lot of interest in LinkedIn, which is really interesting. I think like last cycle, you know, even 18 months ago, it was kind of a ghost land, and I'm starting to see it pick back up again with influencer content, with people talking about projects that are being worked on, and so I think that that's something that will come up as a impactful channel in 2025.
Nice.
I might add a second component to your question, which you can answer as you go on, because I feel like we've strayed a little bit to the second question, which was which 3 and then 5 growth channels would you pick based on a retail focused crypto audience. But I think if you want to answer what's working or not, if you want to start to go into more depth on the channels, that wouldn't be a bad thing.
Maybe we'll touch on them, but I mean, I guess the point I was going to make is, you know, potentially I'm a bit of a cynic here. I've been around in crypto now for a fair while, and one thing I would love to see the industry get better at is maybe thinking about longevity and sustainability. A big issue right now I see with most projects is they rush to do these flashy marketing stunts, you know, flash in the pan, that sort of thing, and before you know it, the attention's moved on to the next project, but there's been no sort of, you know, secondary thought as to what we're actually looking to achieve here. So I think, you know, there's maybe been a few factors in this, particularly, the meme coin sort of cycle doesn't particularly help the industry more broadly, because I guess people see stuff going on within that particular sector and then everyone jumps on the bandwagon. But at the end of the day, I think it really should come back to these sort of like core principles, and as I think we were saying at the start, is maybe looking back to, okay, beyond Web3, what sort of practices in marketing actually work and are building for the long run. So what I'd love to see more marketers in this space doing is actually understanding their core audiences, whether that is leveraging your sort of on-chain data or whether it's actually having those sort of face-to-face conversations with users. And I think this is something that crypto founders probably aren't doing enough of right now, is actually speaking to their end user and diving into the real problems, because at the end of the day, marketing is just communication, right? And you can't do that unless you actually understand who it is you're looking to target and have those sort of conversations with. Growth channels, I mean, I'll hand that back. And
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I didn't want to drop you in at that.
I think that's a fantastic answer. I think the takeaway I'm getting from this is it really depends what you're marketing. I mean, it's a very obvious statement, right? But you know, you can look at a specific vertical of marketing and build, you know, specific customer profiles, right? But I mean, in the first place, you've got to actually think, am I targeting people who want to see in-depth research by email? Am I targeting people who want to see a meme on Twitter and, you know, pump a bunch of leveraged bags into something on a DEX, right? It's a completely different thing. So I think I want to try and keep this as focused in a way that's most useful for the audience. So can we then go into, I guess, this question about channel mixes? So I think if someone wants to give an example of a key type of audience they're focused on, and then list the top 3 channels in order, let's say the top 5, right? So just go, if I could do 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 channels, that would then, you know, be them in order, and, you know, perhaps give some explanation as to why, I don't know, LinkedIn's in the bin, or why you're putting Reddit up at number 2 because you see a challenge, an opportunity there. Let's go with McVal first, because I know you're the king of data-led approach.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
Okay, so in this use case, is it a project with a token or not?
Well, so you can
Pick your use case.
Okay, cool. So I think the reason I asked that is because I think if we're deluding ourselves if we think that if there is a token project, that you're not going after 2 target audiences. It's the users and then the people that are investing, that are going for that kind of exponential hockey stick chart, and then you'll kind of see that. I think what I'm most interested in is the ongoing continuous user growth, and that kind of highlights what you're saying, which is like better understand your audience, understand the features that they like, develop products in a normal way, the way a tech company does before it goes public, and build high quality features that bring people back and bring revenue back. And so I think that if you're going for that type of audience, it's about focusing on where the eyeballs are. And for me, if it's for instance, like footprint analytics, I don't know why that popped in my head, but they don't have a token. But they're a platform that has a lot of great data. And if you are a user of that, you're going to be spending time on LinkedIn as well as X. So you want to be in as many places as possible, be sharing what your core values are as frequently as possible. If and it really happens to be kind of doing that research. We live in an era where AI is becoming cheaper and cheaper. You really literally can personalize messages to every single company and every founder that you're going for. So why shouldn't you? If a founder spends more time on LinkedIn than on X, why don't you go after them on LinkedIn? So I would say that in a B2B business that's selling data, on-chain data, it would be an even split for me on X and LinkedIn.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very fair point. I guess in terms of what channels we're looking at, I think this is the frustration I have again, being a bit of a cynic. Everyone feels like Twitter is the open forum where everyone should be pushing stuff out. But yeah, I mean, as you said, LinkedIn, I think for the institutional players, when I was at blockchain, again, one of the big conversations I had there was like, we need to be doing more to speak to those particular profiles, because not many people know blockchain actually has an institutional arm. It's not just a retail wallet, it also has market making, OTC, all of these sort of things. But as far as others were aware, that just wasn't a thing, right? We just post, oh, we're attending Token 2049 or whatever it may be, but not really saying more to that. So one of the big shifts there was actually then looking at other sort of content we could actually use to sort of aid that. A lot of that was, I guess, maybe on trend with the sort of whole podcast spiel, but that was a really good way of generating a load of content which we could then actually sort of separate into other channels as well. So I think what I'd want to stress to founders particularly is don't just jump on the bandwagon with what you see everyone else doing. Again, it comes back to those conversations with those core audiences and actually understanding where do they spend the most time, where are they most receptive, not just shouting at them, whatever platform they may be on.
Yeah, I'll give a non-token case study example here that I think goes back to the whole audience conversation. So one of my key clients I mentioned, 3IQ Corp, digital asset manager, famous for being first in the world to list an ETF on any major exchange. They listed a Bitcoin ETF on the Toronto Stock Exchange end of 2019. And we engaged with them to help transition them to an institutional player. So since the Bitcoin ETF, they were the first to market with an Ethereum staking ETF. Again, a retail product holding Ethereum with staking activated where you could earn rewards. And then just a couple weeks ago launched with CoinDesk the CV20 index basket, which is a private placement fund that tracks the top 20 crypto assets at any given time and kind of swaps them in and out. And now we're bringing to market a actively managed product for high net worths, pension funds, institutions, you name it. And so when we talk about retail, only those initial ETFs, the Bitcoin fund, the Bitcoin ETF and the Ethereum staking ETF were available to retail. And like it or not, Twitter was and still is, in my opinion, a necessity. But what we found to be most successful selling structured products to retail was finding third-party distribution platforms. And so that in Canada looks like things like Questrade, Scotiabank, TD Bank, and then the financial advisors themselves that advise their small dollar clients on portfolio construction, right? So instead of running millions of dollars of ads, doing big conference events, taking out spreads in the Wall Street Journal or Bloomberg or CNBC, we narrowly focused our marketing efforts to these high-value distribution channels, the advisors and the platforms, and that's where we got our sales from. So it really comes down to, who's your end buyer, what do they do online or in real life? I'm a huge proponent of events and private investor roadshows and things like that, but where are they, what do they consume, and how do they buy? And then that's how you shape your marketing tactics.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Can you do the mic a little?
Oh, sorry. I've got a few examples, but I think because at Serotonin we've built this new platform, which again is like its own little business within the agency. It's interesting because we absolutely want to acquire more users. Anyone can create a free platform account at the moment. So we're trying to do bigger campaigns like Twitter, etc. But what we've really found actually is through hosting big events when we're doing, we've done big at ECC, it was a great event, we're doing one at DevCon, where you get footfall of thousands of people, like that is distribution, you've got their emails, right? So I actually think the highest, conversion rate, even though we're not selling a direct product at the moment, but access to kind of users that are interacting and then like converting from that to accounts, is actually email. And email's the way that I engage with our kind of VIP members. I send like a weekly campaign. We're looking into doing more drip campaigns where events that happen on the platform are then triggered to kind of send more. And we found that really connects with people. People really enjoy that. And when it's super personalized, like if our members do things, I kind of highlight that, and people like the shout outs and try and kind of keep on the pulse of what's happening. That's really, really effective as well. So I would say like you were saying, these older tactics of just like email still is really good. But I do think, when I was at MoonPay, initially it went from being not very well known to literally going about 4,000%, notability within a very, very small amount of time. And again, Twitter's fine, but actually when you're trying to attract, went from B2B to B2B to C and also B2C, so it had a lot of different kind of elements. When you're trying to attract people that maybe are a bit crypto skeptical, having that LinkedIn, having that brand alignment with people like MasterCard and Visa and all of that really helped. And even just a kind of like a unconscious thing of seeing MoonPay in this more, corporate setting, which is LinkedIn, rather than just, crypto, Twitter, all this kind of stuff, I would say really played into that. So I think it just depends kind of what you're trying to achieve. Yeah.
No, I have to say, do you write the serotonin weekly emails?
My boost of serotonin.
Yeah, I love getting those. Like I actually.
Your weekly boost of serotonin.
I read those on the regs for sure. It's a really, really good points there. I think a lot of what I'm seeing is a bunch of Web3 marketers who's probably spent the last 2-3 years working on Twitter in a kind of more meme, more like traditionally crypto-y audience now being like, okay, we can be institutional now, let's use email, let's use ads, let's use LinkedIn, let's get serious.
Can we ask questions?
Yeah, we're about to go on to the questions now, yeah. So let's hand over to the audience now and start asking some questions, actually, thanks.
I just want to know what you feel about, it's fine, I have a loud voice. I'm fine. How do you feel about Instagram and TikTok for Web3 projects?
Can you hold that for a second? I'll do it. I'm going to retire and do audience questions.
Yes, I mean, that's a great question, right? But it depends on the product, service, who you're targeting. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. You look at TikTok, right? It's basically the Gen Z search engine. It's where everyone goes to ask whatever question it may be and find out about stuff. There's a load of great creator tools on there as well, so you can actually see what's trending, what people are searching for. It's, in my opinion, if you're in the consumer space in Web3, it's a no-brainer to at least consider it. But like with everything in marketing, right? You've got to test things. Don't just like say that's going to be the one and we're going to go for it. It's all about little experiments, see what works, what doesn't. I'm sure it'll be the same with Instagram as well.
Has anyone else got a question? Hands up. Who wants to? Now's your moment. Oh, literally no one. Oh, no. All right. If you just introduce yourself and then frame your question, then feel free to come back with a response after.
Yeah, no problem.
And if you have anyone specific you want to ask, feel free to do that as well.
Hi, my name is Glenn Azebke. I do Web3 marketing, a blend of on-chain data with organic search. What is your view on like blending on-chain data with like say organic search, for example? Like for example, like Noonday, like you said, Katie, like just kind of shut up, the search volume went up. So how do you blend that with the on-chain data to make informed decisions?
That's a really good question. So I'll probably like end up shilling another company that's not me. But, so I don't know if you ever used like Addressable or something like that. I mean like that kind of like audience profiling is really powerful, being able to cross-reference on-chain psychographics, social, and search habits. I think it's a really powerful thing. I think search is not used enough. I mean, just this sort of connects with the TikTok thing, which is, I think it's, you know, older people go to search and to LinkedIn to find out and educate themselves about things. Younger people go to TikTok and YouTube. I guess older people also go to YouTube, but I think younger people go to TikTok to learn, and they treat it as their search engine. So you can also look at the trends on TikTok and take a lot of that and see how that cross-references with search as well. And I think that there's probably a lot of opportunities to, I mean, I don't see enough, you know, meme coins and DeFi protocols with really active blogs that are talking about what's trending. And I think they can be driving a lot of search to them that way.
Somebody in the panel mentioned about long-term vision for a lot of startups and companies. When I speak to a lot of startups, their primary focus is them wanting to become a DAO in the long run. So you, as a Web3 marketer, how would you navigate that change for companies to become DAO? What's your strategy on DAO marketing?
Yeah, so my firm is one of those that is exploring a long-term roadmap to decentralizing as a DAO. It would be more of an investment-focused DAO, right, where we would essentially like have an investment token where people could buy in, and it would be pegged to the employment, like the contracts that we receive, right, and then would pay out in terms of dividends kind of deal. And then you could open that up to contract labor so that anyone around the world, whether they work for my firm or not, could essentially plug into and work on a project and earn rewards from that, right? We're still many years away from actually giving this a shot, but in terms of marketing, I mean, you've seen some really exciting projects come out. I'm trying to remember the name, like Raid Guild has been one. There's one or two others that essentially allow contractors anywhere to bid on projects and essentially form little marketing pods, which, you know, from my time, you know, having founded an agency back in the day, like it's that same model, right? But it just opens up the labor pool to people globally and makes it more competitive. I think it's going to be a promising model in the future. Yeah.